In my own life, I've noticed that my perfectionism is not just a standalone thing anymore. The more mindful I get, the more I learn about my own mind, my own brain, my own mind, the more I realize that my perfectionism is tied in, deeply tied in, to anxiety. And they're best friends. They're like husband and wife, anxiety and perfectionism. And you can't have one separate without the other. At least for me, I can't imagine a perfectionist that's not also anxious about the work. And the anxiety is very interesting. The anxiety arises from a crazy part of the mind that seems to tie the outcome of the task, the outcome of whatever task you need to do, whether it be a report, whether it be a house project, whether it be doing something with your kids, doing something with your mother, doing something with your father, whatever it is, whether it means making a phone call or running an errand or doing a project on the yard, whatever you need to do, making a YouTube video, whatever you need to do, that task that you're procrastinating on, that you are being a perfectionist on, and this is only for procrastinating perfectionists like me, if you're doing that, you're tying the task somehow. Something happened in your life that's caused your brain to tie the outcome of tasks, of actual tasks, single fucking tasks, to your self esteem, to your self worth, and to who you are as a person. Your mind is trying to protect you, it's trying to protect your self conception, it's trying to protect who you are effectively. It doesn't understand that you're living in a modern world with many tasks, and it just has no idea. That's the executive part of the brain, I think. The prefrontal cortex, I think. And probably the left, more the semantic part of the brain. But I'm not a brain expert here. I don't care about the actual parts of the brain. I care more about the themes in terms of the way it seems from a first person perspective. And from my first person perspective, when I look out into the world, I notice that there is this conscious awareness, but there's also a completely dark ocean of just a dark ocean from which emotions arise. And I think everyone is led the same way. I bet you everyone's the same way. A dark ocean from which emotions arise. And the more you pay attention, you realize you can't, the ocean is as dark as can be. That you can't even see 1 millimeter below. And from that ocean, beautiful emotions arise, the most beautiful and the worst. Whatever you've ever felt has come from that ocean, not from the actual conscious awareness. So when you're aware, when you're sitting there, you see that anything that arises from an unknown and dark place, a place that you have no control over, a place you can never visit, a place you've never seen, a place you'll never see. And all you can do is sit and observe as these things arise. And that's all that's ever been happening to you in your entire life. Your entire life, that's how you've lived. And so, in paying attention to what arises when I'm about to procrastinate, when it's that very fucking difficult, nasty time, when I'm about to put off a task, I I try to pay attention. It's very hard to do because at that point your brain doesn't want to do it. It wants to take you and just make you small and make you identify with a thought instead of understanding who you really are. But if you're able to for a second get a glimpse of your true nature and just pay attention to what's actually happening, you'll see that, wow, this entire process is intensely anxiety driven. And as crazy as it sounds, perfectionism and procrastination and anxiety, they're all a gang of three. They all hang out with each other and they love each other and they're all freaked out, especially the anxiety piece. The anxiety is the piece that tells you, hey, dude, if you fuck up, you're a fucked up person. If you fail, you're a failure. It's that part of the brain. And we know it's irrational, but we know, right? We know. I mean, as I say it, I know how stupid that is. If I fuck up on a task, on one task, what the heck does that say about me? How could that possibly say anything about me? Isn't it how I do over the long run, on average, on my good days and my bad days? Not how I do on one task, right? We don't judge anyone based on how they do on one task. Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant, may he rest in peace. Anyone, anyone good, we judge them on their entire career, not on one day. They have to perform well all the time. But for some reason, when you're about to do a certain task, what happens is that your brain says you're gonna have to do this task perfectly, dude. You're gonna have to do this shit fucking perfectly, or you're a fuck up. That's basically what my brain says. From that darkness comes out a message saying, if you fuck up on this, if it's not perfect, you're fucked up. You're just a fucked up son of a bitch. You're trash, dude. And that's a very hard thing to know and to feel. And you could say it's not true. You could say no, it's not true. But you know who that? Do you know who's saying that? The part of your brain that knows it's not true. The aware part of your brain. You have to tell that to the other parts of your brain, the parts of your brain from which those emotions arise, from which where the darkness is, from the darkness arises from those places. Those those parts of the brain, they live in that darkness. For you, maybe they have their own consciousness. Who knows? That's a different topic. But for you, they live in that dark ocean, and all you can do is stand there and just see what kind of things come up. And you're hoping good things come up. You're hoping bad things come up. Or you could just pay a little more attention and see, okay, what's coming up, good, bad, and make some conclusions about the ocean and the nature of your life. Meaning you could see that, wow, dude, for 30 something years, I've been just uh, completely unaware that there's this entire dark ocean here from which things arise. And now I can calmly sit down, at least let me spend some time and just take a look at this ocean, see the nature of this, see how it is for things to arise, see how it is for these things to arise. How does it feel for that to happen, right? That's what you've been doing for your entire life. But the only problem is you've been doing it in a dream, in a dazed state, as if you were drugged up, not in an awake state where your awareness is open and you're paying attention to who you are. But if you're able to do that, you may get glimpses of the fact that your procrastination, your perfectionism comes from an anxious place, and that the solution is the anxiety. You have to go dig deep somehow into the brain. I don't know how that's going to be done. Even in myself, I'm still working on this. You have to do something, maybe by reading, by watching videos. You have to. It's going to be tough, but something has to happen in your life where those other parts of the brain calm down and understand that, dude, we're in a different world than you thought. We're not in that kind of world. Just we're in a different place. It's just a whole different realm, a whole different universe than the kind that you think it is. Whatever happened to you to make you think like this, you're talking to that little part of the brain now. Whatever part is making you freaked out. You say, whatever happened to you, whatever happened to you, dude, it's okay. It's not a big fucking deal. You're in a different world now. But it has to believe it. Once it believes it, it'll stop sending those signals out, and you'll find it much easier to do the things you want to do, because you won't be anxious about them, because you won't be tying your self worth to them anymore. You're just going to be doing the task, and you may actually enjoy the task.